Hope everyone had a nice break, and welcome back to the end of the world. So as you know, World War III has started. The United States.
Professor Jiang, why are you so dark, nigga?
And Israel have started to attack Iran. And we are now in the 4th day of this war. And we can expect this war.
Oh no, my tech team's in Israel. The war's only going to last 48 hours. The war ain't shit. Fucking Tate.
To last for many weeks, possibly also for many years. But I promise you that after this war is done, the world will never be the same again. So what we'll do these next few weeks is use game theory and understand and analyze the geopolitical situation. And so I'm going to teach you the ideas, the theories, the techniques to understand the world around you and make predictions. And we can know if our analysis is correct because all this is happening in real time, and so we can test it against reality.
All right, let's get into it.
So let's go over some basic facts about what's happened so far. So in the early morning of Saturday, in Tehran, the Israelis and Americans launched a decapitation strike against
Allah Akbar!
the Ayatollah Khamenei, who is the supreme leader of Iran. Now, there are arguments and disputes about as to what happened. The Americans and Israelis said that they had real intelligence about where the leader was, and so they sent airplanes to just bomb the crap out of the place. They also had a spy who was able to record the body of the dead Ayatollah, and then this was announced. At first, the Iranians denied this, and the Iranians insisted he was still alive, but eventually, state media admitted that he did die in the airstrike. But then what they also said is that the Ayatollah, he's 86 years old, and he chose to die.
Lies. Fucking lies.
He had gone to Moscow, but instead he chose to stay in Tehran and die for his people. But not only that, but he died along many of his relatives. He died along with his...
The narrative that you want to create is always going to be BS. Do not let the news and the media deter you and make you believe what they're spewing on the television, bro. Make sure you fact check everything. Even after you watch my video, fact check the information in it, because the news, there's a fucking war going on, and the news has the audacity to put up a fucking graphic. A graphic with the world and then Iran flag and Trump and Putin. You're gonna tell me we're in the middle of a goddamn war and you niggas have time to go in Photoshop and make a fucking graphic? The fuck?
His daughter, his son-in-law, his grandchildren. So many of the family died in this assault. Also, there's been reporting that he had prostate cancer. Okay, so he was gonna die fairly soon as well. So what you need to understand first about the war is that even though the Americans and Israelis...
They want it, if they don't make him out to be a bad guy, then people will be like, well, why are we going into war then? He's not even that bad. Okay, fine. So then let's create the narrative that Iran has nuclear weapons and that this guy, the leader of Iran, their supreme leader, he's a bad guy and he was already sick and now he's dying, and we've made progress in that sense. It's all BS. It's all bullshit. They need some sort of propaganda story to feed you, to make you, well, hoorah, let's go to war. When we all know war is bullshit.
He's claimed great success in decapitating the leadership of the Iranians. From the Iranian perspective, this is a martyrdom, okay? And so the religion of the Iranians is called Shia Muslim. And this is different from Sunni Muslim. So Sunnis are the majority. They're about 9% of all Muslims in the world. The Shia have always been the minority. And as such, they've always been persecuted. So in the Shia faith, the core value, the force that binds everyone together and gives them purpose and meaning in life, that galvanizes them into action, is the idea of martyrdom, which forces jihad. You sacrifice yourself for your religion, sacrifice yourself for the common good.
Allah Akbar!
So think of the death of Khamenei as a sacrifice, a self-sacrifice, in order to motivate the Iranians in this war, okay? So that's the first thing you need to understand. That for the Iranians, this is not a geopolitical war. This is not an economic war. This is not a war of resistance. This is a jihad, okay? It's a war against the great Satan to avenge their leader. They will fight to the death, all right? That's number one. Number two is this.
That's what I was saying.
Also that morning, when the Ayatollah was killed. There's
Exactly. How are you going? How are you going to defeat somebody who was literally willing to die for God, bro? You can't defeat that. It's like the idea of the Vikings. They wanted to die in battle so they can go to Valhalla, bro. How are you going to defeat somebody that is fighting in the name of God and sees anybody trying to oppose them as Shaitan, the devil himself? You can't win. The same way niggas couldn't beat the Nazis when the Nazis were invading all the European countries. It's because the niggas were high on meth and they said, we are doing this because it's what we believe. You can't beat a nigga that has the will and strength of either methamphetamines or God.
really struck a school in the south of Tehran, killing about 150 school children. These are girls in primary school. And again, there's a lot of debate and argument as to what happened. The Israelis said that, first of all, the school was next to a military base. We were targeting a military base.
Bro, the bullshit.
And second of all, it wasn't us which struck the school. It was a air defense missile that went off course. Okay? And the Iranians insisted no. The Israelis purposefully attacked the school to kill the school children. And then you're like, why would the Israelis do that? But then these few years, well, we've seen what they've done in Gaza, in Palestine to the Palestinians. And it's pretty consistent what the Israelis have been doing. All right? So this action against the Israelis, it's meant to show to themselves and the world that we are now all in. Okay? We've made the sacrifice. We are now committed to this war, to winning this war at all costs. And this action has also provoked the Iranian people to resist with their full might. Okay? So I want you to keep this in mind. And again, we don't have complete evidence that it's the Israelis who did this. But given past actions from the Israelis, this is fairly consistent with what they've done. Okay? So we can assume that this is something the Israelis did. Why they did this, what the purpose is something we will discuss as we move on. Okay? It's very complicated. Next, I want to show you this. This is Dubai. And Dubai is considered one of the wealthiest, safest cities in the world.
Yeah, not anymore. Ever since the airport was bombed, not just anywhere in the airport. The main entrance of the airport was bombed, okay? And all the little civilians that were there, the other side, oh, it's time to escape Dubai. $300,000 for a jet to get out of Dubai, all right? If you don't got that, there's commercial airliners coming in and out, but it's a slow process. People are now living in the underground parking of airports and underground parking of malls, shitting in bags because they decided, let's go to Dubai. Wrong!
There are thousands, tens of thousands of Westerners who move to Dubai because it's clean, you don't pay any taxes, you make a lot of money, and they're a great.
The only reason niggas should be in Dubai is niggas who have a lot of money and they go there to launder it, bro. Don't be stupid, bro.
Restaurants. And this is really the economic model of Dubai. It's one of the GCC countries, okay? The Gulf coastal countries.
And if you're wondering why would Iran bomb Dubai, it's because Dubai has ties with the US. And Iran wants no American influence at all. They don't want to be influenced by the Americans in any way. All right? They already had the chance. The Americans gave Iran the chance to bow down, and Iran said, no, we're not doing it.
For the longest time, Dubai had a really good deal because they were under the protection of the American military. So they didn't have to pay for defense. And then they were in the Middle East, which is the oil producing center of the world. And so they focus on aviation, they focus on logistics, they focus on finance, on tourism. They became extremely wealthy, right? I'm not sure if you've taken Emirates, one of the best airlines in the world. So their airport, Dubai Airport, is the busiest in the world. And Dubai, for the longest time, was flourishing under American protection. And Dubai said to the world, listen, we're like Switzerland. We're neutral. We don't want any involvement in any wars. We're here just to take care of our citizens, to make sure everyone has a good time, to make money.
Yeah, good time. Good time. Good time. Shut up, Dubai. First of all, you guys know that in Dubai, a lot of those people say they're coming from impoverished countries like Thailand or Africa, different places like that come to Dubai to seek the better life and live at the Shmog Kabashai. Yeah. Those niggas and people that come to that country to live there, or city rather, most of these people get their passports taken away and they are essentially enslaved. and live in these project blocks with thousands of other employees, and they live and they get paid cents on the dollar, bro. That's the dark side of Dubai that nobody shows you, is the essential labor slavery that's going on there. How else do you think a city like that was able to be constructed and built in such and like the time was so hyperbolic and doesn't make sense? Come on. That's why I said, don't let the narrative, don't be tricked by the narrative.
And then right after the war started, the Iranians attacked the GCC, okay? Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, they attacked these places. And these places were like, what's going on? We're neutral, man. We're not involved in this war. And the airport was shut down in Dubai. At one point, the rich people in Dubai were willing to pay about $250,000 US just to get on a plane and get out of there, okay? So the reality is this. For the longest time, Dubai had a reputation for being safe, and that's why people moved their money there. Guess what, guys? After what the Iranians did, it's dead. Dubai as a city, in the long term, it is dead. Because
for so long, it's going to be dead. And the reason why all these people were crying, especially Andrew Tate was crying, is because everybody put their money there. Investments, real estate, whatever the case might be, they invested their money, their livelihoods were there. When the market's good, it's up. When you get fucking bombed, yeah, every investment is going to zero. And that's going to be like that for years to come, bro. Years to come. So yeah, if you have your money in Dubai, I'm so sorry.
You're a wealthy Westerner, you're not going to move to a place where it can be attacked anytime by the Iranians. You might move to Singapore, you might move to Hong Kong, Japan, South America, but you're not moving to Dubai, okay? So the big question for us is, why do the Iranians do this? It was the Israelis and Americans who attacked you, why go after the GCC? All right? And not only that, but they're escalating the attacks against the GCC. This is something that we will look at very closely today. Well, the short answer is because these places, even though they pretend to be neutral, they house the American military. They allow the Israelis and Americans to use their airspace to attack Iran from. All right? So this is Bahrain. Now, Bahrain is interesting, okay? Because I want you guys to remember this. But Bahrain will probably be one of the major centers of this conflict. Because, first of all, this is the American Fifth Fleet. All right? This is their naval base in the Middle East. And as you can see, the Iranians are attacking it with missiles. And it's being blown up. Bahrain is interesting because it has about 50% or even more, okay, Shia, which is the religion of the Iranians. But the people in charge are the Sunnis. And so what makes this strike really important from our perspective is, first of all, not only are the Iranians attacking US military assets, not only are they destroying the economies of the GCC, but they're also trying to ignite a religious war, right? Because you're Shia, you're loyal to the Ayatollah. And if he's dead, then you must, as a religious obligation, now commit jihad against your enemies. It's no different in other religions where, listen, if you want to keep...
So not only is it a war for attrition, it's a battle of attrition, it's asymmetrical warfare, it's religious, it's battle for resources. Bro, if someone had a bingo card for all the crazy stuff that was going to happen this year, you're not winning. This is not a year where anybody goes, bingo! No. None of us, dude.
Kill the Pope, the Catholics would be really angry at you and they would want to kill you, right? So now you have the Shia who will probably eventually arise, creating a revolution in Bahrain, okay? So I think Bahrain will be the first to fall. Dubai will probably go bankrupt, okay? But in the long term, we can expect the entire GCC area, including Saudi Arabia, to eventually collapse, okay? And so this is something we'll use game theory to understand. All right, let's continue. So we will know how this war develops just based on geography, okay? So this is a map. And this map, even if you don't really know the war, even if you don't know the participants, even if you don't know the weaponry, this map will tell you exactly how this war will progress. All right, so some certain things to keep in mind about this map. This is what we call this area, okay? Really small about. It's 33 kilometers wide, okay? People can swim across it. It's really, really narrow, okay? This small area, guys, it's called the Strait of Hormuz. All right? And it's important because it's really the center of the world. This one area is the nexus, the pivot of the world. Let me explain why. First of all, from the GCC, you have 20% of all the world's oil flowing through this narrow strait. Where does it go, guys? It goes to Asia, India, Pakistan, South Korea, China, Japan. India depends on 60% of its oil from this area. China depends on 40%. Japan, 75%. Prime Minister Takeichi of Japan has said that, listen, if the Strait of Hormuz closes, we're going to have oil in about 8-9 months. The entire Japanese economy would collapse in 8-9 months if the Strait of Hormuz were to close. And guess what? The Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz. Okay?
Oh my God. Bro, this small little country that everyone just said, nah, we don't want to mess with Iran. Leave Iran alone. They can't join us. Tell them to fuck off. And Iran has been plotting slowly in the background, going through its winter arc, or better yet, its desert arc. In the hot sun, Iranians were training. In the hot sun, creating missiles in such mass quantity that even your interceptor missiles wouldn't phase them. Each Iranian missile is about $20,000. Each interceptor missile from the Americans is about $2 to $6 million. You tell me who's going to win, huh? When it takes Iran 24 hours to manufacture hundreds of missiles, bro. Come on. This is a joke.
So we can expect that the entire global economy will suffer greatly over the next few months. All right, so that's point number one. Point number two is, okay, so the GCC sends oil across the Strait of Hormuz, and what do they get back in return? Food, guys. All right, so people don't appreciate the GCC, but it is really the linchpin of the American empire. Because what is the American empire? The American empire is the petrodollar. All right, the idea of the petrodollar is this: the US dollar is worth nothing. It's only valuable if people want it. But the GCC says that if you want oil from us, you have to pay us in US dollars. Okay, then that is the base.
And the reason also, another reason why the US dollar is pretty much valueless is because they took it off the gold standard, all right? America used that value, the value of the American dollar used to equate the amount of gold they had in reserve, okay? But as soon as the Americans said, we're taking our money off of our gold reserve, it allowed the Americans to print astronomical amounts of money, okay? Which is why they have $38 trillion in debt, and this is why they print money to give to their what's it called, to the military industrial complex. So American money has no value. The only value the Americans have is their oil. And this is why they have strategic bases all around the world where there's what? Oil production. That's why they went into Venezuela. They didn't go into Venezuela for coke. They went to Venezuela for oil, okay? Remember, guys, the narrative is important.
This of the value of the US dollar. So, if the GCC collapses, the American economy and the American empire both collapse at the same time. The problem, though, is the GCC is an artificial construct of empire. It does not exist naturally. Why? Because there's no food, there's no oil, no water. Okay, guys? No food, no water. So these cities are able to grow in the millions because of all these petrodollars flowing in. If you close off the Strait of Hormuz, there's no food coming in, right? They're all gonna starve. How much food does the GCC get from overseas? 80%. 80% of all the food it consumes comes from overseas, that it imports. It does not grow by itself, it imports. All right?
You can't really grow food in the desert.
So the Strait of Hormuz is really key. And again, the Iranians will close it in order to strangle the global economy and therefore bankrupt the American empire. All right? Second thing you will notice is these mountains. These mountains is what we call Iran. All right, this is Iran. This is GCC. Okay, this is not a fair matchup, right? Because these are mountains. And what can you do in mountains? Well, you can hide rocket bases. You can hide drone bases. You can hide missiles. And that's the entire Iranian offensive strategy, all right? From here, they can hide missiles and drones from which to attack the GCC. And what are they attacking? They're attacking three things, right? They're attacking American military bases. American military bases. That's number one. Okay? Is it possible for the Americans to defend against these attacks? The answer is no. They're not. It's not. It's the silliest thing in the world. You have all these bases in the Middle East, but you cannot defend them against the Iranians. That's kind of strange. Okay, but that's number one. Number two is oil and energy. How hard is it to blow up an oil field with a drone? Not hard at all. Can you defend these oil fields? No, you cannot. All right?
You would think so because of the interceptor missiles, but like I was telling you, the cost of throwing interceptor missiles, you're going to lose just based on you're going to run out of money, dude. And then what is the Americans going to again do, guys? They're probably going to print more money to have to deal with the war that they've now got themselves in with in the Middle East. Oh my God. You can literally see the puzzle pieces forming for the collapse of Western society.
3, and that's most important, is water. Okay? You guys don't know this, but the GCC has little access to fresh water. So the only way that it can produce water is what we call desalination plants, okay? These factories that take salt water and then through electrochemical process, turn it into fresh water for the population to use. 60% of the water supply in the GCC comes from desalination plants, okay? 60%. Is it hard to blow up a desalination plant using a drone? The answer is, it's very easy. You understand? Okay? So you have this absurd situation where Iran is a mountain fortress, where it can hide its offensive capacity, and the GCC, it's just this desert, this flat desert, and it is exposed to attack, and there's nothing it can do about it.
This essentially is going to be how, because if you guys know, the Vietnam War, the Americans lost in the Vietnam War. Why? Because the guerrilla warfare in the trenches, the Americans could not keep up with that. Too many places to hide, too many traps, so they just knew, the Viet Cong knew exactly what to do to defeat the Americans. That's why the Americans never won over there, okay? Second of all, same thing with Iran. You're gonna run around in the heat of the mountains, huh? First you're gonna cross through the water and the desert of the heat, then climb up in the mountains, so you're changing the terrain and weather, going from hot to cold? You think these niggas are hiding in the mountains with their wolves? Bro, this is going to be an upset, bro. Where's the rain bet? Somebody do a parlay on this.
Okay? So at any point in this war, the Iranians can choose to just destroy the entire GCC, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. Okay? But Iran also has a weakness, okay? And this is fundamental. So Iran also has a water problem, okay? So for the longest time, they suffered a drought issue. Okay, just climate change. And so what the plan of the Israelis and Americans is destroy the water supply of the Iranians. Because the fortress, it is a mountain fortress, but it can also be a mountain prison as well, where people are trapped inside with no access to water. Okay, so what we're going to see right now, we're already seeing attacks on civilian infrastructure, hospitals. In the future, you'll see attacks on water supply, on dams, on reservoirs, on power plants. The idea is to make Iran so inhabitable that the people will have to rebel against the people, or there'll be a refugee crisis in Iran. Okay? So as you can see from this map, this war, it is the end of the world. Okay? Both sides have the potential to destroy each other. It's really a question of how far do they want to go.
Right.
All right? We can also say this is almost
mutually assured destruction. Russia has already told the US that if they try to finish this, clean up the war quick by sending in their all-star team, which are nuclear weapons, Russia said, we're also going to send nuclear weapons, okay? Russia is not that far away from the US. They're going to come the other way, around Japan and Canada. So this is why the Americans can't even use their greatest military forces and weapons in this war. Because Russia said, if you try it, I too will also send the same thing. I will retaliate with the same energy, the same strength. God damn.
the game of chicken. Okay? We can blow each other up. How far do you want to go? And the problem is this. The problem is that the Iranians are Shia, which believes in martyrdom. And
meaning they will go to the end. They will go till they die. Because that means that they're going closer to God. They are going to go sit next to God after they perish. Oh my God. It's the Muslim Valhalla.
killed the religious leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei. So they're willing to go very, very far. The GCC countries are Muslim, but they're materialistic. They love money. And also, most of the population are expatriates, foreigners. 90% of Dubai are foreigners. Guess what's gonna happen if they suffer? They're all gonna run away. Okay? So this is not a fair matchup. The big question that people have is, first of all, are the Americans going to use ground troops? Because the only way that you can defeat Iran is by using ground troops, okay? That's a big question we'll look at in the next few weeks. Will America send its army, 500,000, 2 million soldiers to topple the government? Okay, that's question number one. Question number two, nuclear weapons. If you're losing a war, would you choose to use nuclear weapons? Okay, that's another big question that we have, okay? Another big question that we have is who gets involved? Because this situation is so dire that Europe, okay, specifically Germany, France, and Britain are talking about entering this war. And guess what? If that happens, it is possible that Russia and China will also enter this war on the side of the Iranians. This is World War III, okay? Damn. Because of the importance of the Strait of Hormuz, because of the importance of the Middle East, everyone has to get involved at some point.
Oil, boys.
And we're going to use game theory to really try to understand
It's like an episode of Mad Max.
what's happening on the ground
For
and where this
resources.
could lead us. Okay? All right. You guys understand? All right.